All right. Today we got the Marvel movies tier list. And yeah, this is a lot of them, and there's going to be a long one. Also, if you notice, the tier list here is quite different than normal, and that's because if you're going to be honest, none of these movies are like trash can movies. I mean, they're all A-list actors, huge budgets, not huge plot holes and stuff. So like none of them you can really even when you put your opinion in there, you shouldn't really put any of these into D or F or anything like that. So the lowest I'm going to C because some of them are relatively they're kind of like C, like because just because a movie's flashy doesn't mean it's necessarily good. Um, but yeah, and since there's so many, there's double rows for everything. So if something's in this A row versus this A row, it doesn't mean it's better or anything. It just they're both A's. It's just I might run out of room in the A's, the S's, and B's area. Probably there probably won't be many C's, but I did it so it looked clean. Yeah, so we're gonna start out in chronological order, not like when they happen, because like this movie happens in the '90s and stuff like that. It's when they released them, starting in 2008, and then with a month ago. So we'll start out with just the first Iron Man movie. Now this movie was honestly really good. It was because origin stories are usually either doo doo or awesome, and this was a good origin story. You saw huge character development. You actually the hero actually seemed like, oh no, he might not win. Which some of these heroes, it's kind of dumb because like you're not worried about them at all. Um, the bad guy made perfect sense and everything. Uh, it was a pretty good like origin story start movie, and there's some good humor and stuff. So, um, I kind of can't really decide which one to put it in, but like if I'm being fair, when this came out in 2008, it was an S. It was an S movie for sure, and everybody loves the original Iron Man. No huge like plot holes that I can think of or anything, so it's good. Hulk. Now, see, this is one where it's like, for the whole movie, you're not even really worried about him because he just goes Hulk and he doesn't die and stuff. Um, Edward Norton. I mean, in other movies, whatever. In this movie, he's very boring. Him and then the girl he's with, I can't remember her name, but they're both very boring in this movie. Um, the most interesting guy is the bad guy, who isn't really that much of a bad guy till later in the movie. Um, yeah, it's the last fight's cool because it's Hulk versus that Abomination guy, which is just another like Super Hulk or whatever. Uh, so it's pretty good of a ending fight scene and stuff, but like um the rest of the movie's just kind of boring. Uh, and so I'm gonna put this in C because the only thing that saved it was the bad guy, really, to be honest. But it's still, Hulk still looked cool in it. That bad guy looked super cool. Their fight was awesome at the end. But the ending of a movie can't just make the movie. It can break the movie, but it can't just make the movie. That's not really fair. Next up, we got Iron Man 2. I think we're in 2010 now, I believe. Iron Man 2 definitely was not as good as the first one. Just because like the villain is like super cool sounding and stuff. He fights Iron Man at the beginning, but it's kind of like a scrappy fight. It's okay. And at the end, the bad guy shows up, and like within a minute, he's done for. So like they kind of build him up. He's Mickey Rourke plays him. He's really cool. Whiplash, you got the big electric whips and stuff. Super cool looking. And he kind of doesn't do anything. And they kind of focus a lot on Black Widow in the movie. And her scenes really aren't impressive. I mean, she's beating up mall cops pretty much. It's like, yeah, I didn't think that. I think this one really just belongs in a B, honestly, just because like it just fell way too short of the first one, and it just fails to be as awesome as some of these other movies. The first Thor movie. Now I like Thor. Now I think he is the best character they have now. But when this first movie came out, I mean, it was he was boring. Like not Chris Hemsworth playing Thor was boring. Natalie Portman is her character's kind of not interesting. Loki is a bad guy because all he does is just smirk, and then Tumblr's like he's the best. No, he's not. Um, the best part of this movie is Heimdall. Idris Elba's character Heimdall is the best part of this movie, and he does like almost nothing, but he's just so cool, and he barely gets to do anything. So I mean, yeah, and then they kind of just like waste a bunch of frost giants, and then him and Loki kind of fight each other at the end. Like, I mean, honestly, like the first Thor movie probably goes in a C, just because, like, I mean, it's not as amazing as some of these other movies. The first Captain America, man, it sounds like I hate Marvel movies, but at the end of the list, you'll see there's a lot of A's and S's. But like the first Captain America, it's cool. Like they're set like in the 40s and stuff, but they don't do any cool 40s stuff. There's like a montage of like him and his buddies breaking into like Nazi camps and fighting people and stuff. But you don't. Captain America doesn't really have a villain besides the Red Skull. And at one point in the movie, you find out Red Skull's superhuman like him, and they can have some awesome fight. And then at the end of the movie, him and Red Skull are on a ship together, and he's got to stop him. And Red Skull kind of just like shoots at him a couple times, and then just grabs a tesseract and then just disappears. Like they didn't have an intense choreographed fight scene and stuff. Like it was just such a waste, especially since the guy playing Red Skull was an awesome actor. And it just if 40s vibe is really cool. I love old like 30s, 40s, 50s vibes in movies and stuff. They could be really cool, but like just the beginning of this movie kind of touched on it, and then the rest of the movie it's just like I don't know. I think they didn't take advantage of their setting thing, so I'm just gonna put this one in C. Um, and then the first Avengers movie. First, obviously, this was like a huge thing when it came out. Um, again, Loki's the bad guy. Very, you know. Um, but he's got like the scepter thing, so he's like stronger. He comes through the Tesseract, and you know, um, Thor shows up to show up. It all makes sense, like how stuff is working out and everything. Um, just kind of Hulk. This is Mark Ruffalo's first time as Hulk in this one. He just was kind of like a weird character when he wasn't Hulk. When he was the Bruce Banner character in this movie, he was acting really shady. It was just kind of weird, but it made sense, to the plot. But it was kind of weird. But I think this one definitely goes in A because there's like the cool army fight. They fight that huge army, and they fight each other at one point and stuff. So like, um, I think this one definitely gets an A because it's a cool setup for the and it's big deal happens to Iron Man at the end, which then affects this Iron Man 3 movie that's coming up and stuff. So I think this the first Avengers movie could definitely be an A. And then we got Iron Man 3. And now Iron Man 3, like he loses all of his stuff, and then he's just kind of like this is not Iron Man 3. This is more like Tony Stark 1 because like he doesn't even get to be Iron Man in like that first like half of the movie. He really doesn't. Like he's just like making like gizmos and stuff. Um, they have this cool character that's supposed to have 10 rings of power and supposed to be super awesome, and then he just turns out to be a fake, which like okay, that's cool for the plot. Now where's the bad guy? And then the bad guy was just like he would just get steamy and he couldn't die. It was, I mean, the bad guys were just kind of lame towards the end. Um, so I think Iron Man 3 probably just gets a B as well. Just checking on something. Okay. Now we got Thor 2 or Thor: The Dark World. Now this one's definitely it's definitely better than the first one just because there's a little more humor in it. The bad guys, they're the dark elves. Like they're kind of interesting. There's this one dark elf that's really cool. This like cursed guy. He like becomes like the super monster guy. He's really cool. Loki's in it, but Loki plays what he should, which isn't a main bad guy. He's kind of like a side character, just doing some shit. So he's the right stuff. He's doing the right character in this movie. The ether stuff's kind of weird, but then you find out it's an Infinity Stone, so it all kind of makes sense. Yeah, I think this one definitely beats the first. I can go in a B because it's still pretty cool. The last fight scene's cool. Um, the characters and like the history behind the characters and stuff are kind of interesting and everything. So that's not bad. Now Captain America: Winter Soldier. Now this one is awesome. This one is where Shield is like compromised or whatever, and this one's just lots of good fighting in it, and it's a very like intense story, like because like you never know like who's with it, who's not with Shield, stuff like that. He's fighting the Winter Soldier, and this is like the only movie where the Winter Soldier is like as cool as he actually is, because he's actually super cool. But then the next one movie he's in, he's still okay, and then after that he just becomes so lame. But yeah, in this one he's pretty awesome. Uh, Black Widow's better in this than she was in Iron Man 2 for sure. Her character's she's way more interesting in this one. Um, yeah, and then the yeah, I think this one probably should get an S just because it's really good. Definitely very good. Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. This one had it introduced all the characters. Very funny. Probably the most family movie of all of them. It was very funny. Bad guy Ronan he's kind of tough, but like he was kind of just a big meathead, so it wasn't too interesting. Uh, and then they have they have the intense thing in the back. This one probably just gets an A just because I mean it was a great movie. It's fun, it's funny. The characters all separately developed very well. It's pretty well done. And we got Avengers 2, The Age of Ultron. Now this one, a lot of people act like this one wasn't very good, but I feel like it's a lot better. People deserve. James Spader played Ultron, and he was awesome. He was a super cool character. They introduced the Vision in here. All the Avengers kind of get along a little better. We have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. They show up. I mean, it introduces new characters and stuff. It's very good. I don't know. Does it get an S or an A? I feel like this one should get an S, honestly, because um it all makes sense. The Hulkbuster scene is really good. The end scene yeah, I'll go ahead and give this one an S. This one's very good. They're chasing around Ultron around the world and stuff, and he's always like a step ahead of them. And James Spader just really kills the part as Ultron. I think it's really good. Next up we have the Ant-Man, his first movie. This one was good. It was really funny. Uh, Paul Rudd is hilarious. Um, the bad guy in it makes sense. It's just like he's got the same powers except he can fly and shoot lasers, but he can't control the ants and stuff like that. So they have a cool fight where it looks like it's a giant train, but it's just a Thomas the Tank toy and stuff. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, uh, I'd say I'd say A for that one. That one's good. Oh, Civil War. Now, Civil War. I really like this movie just because it's really fun to watch. Spider-Man just shows up. They have awesome fight scenes and stuff. But it kind of makes the plot thing is kind of weird. How just Tony Stark's immediately like a guy that's all about oh look at me, I'll do whatever I want, and then as soon as Shield's like, hey, you got to follow some rules, he's like, yep, everyone follow the rules. And then Captain America, the guy that's like, he's all about, yep, I serve my country. When the country asks him to do something, he says just no. They seem kind of flipped in some ways, but definitely good fighting and stuff. And the ending is not as satisfying. It's cool because spoiler alert, ha, ha, ha. If you haven't seen this movie yet and you get spoiled, too bad. Leave a dislike then. But this one, they say oh, he's gonna release 5 super soldiers in a base. We got to get there before him. It's like, oh my god, him, Bucky, and Iron Man are gonna be fighting these super soldier guys. It's gonna be awesome. There's gonna be so many of them. You're never gonna know when one sneaks up on somebody and stuff like that. They get there. The dude just killed all of them, and then he kind of just reveals that Bucky killed Iron Man's parents, even though Bucky couldn't control himself, and Iron Man knows that. And Iron Man's like, oh, I guess I gotta kill him now. And Captain America's like, no. And then so they fight about it. Yeah, now that I think about it, I really like this movie, but I mean, it's gotta just go in an A just because I don't know, they built up a satisfying ending, and then but they had to have them splitting up for the rest of the movies, which is fine. They had to make them split up. It ties into their other movies because oh, they're not we're not friends anymore and stuff like that. Captain America's rogue and stuff, but they set that up and it doesn't take place. Infinity War shows up and they're like, hey guys, everything's fine. So yeah, I'm just gonna put that A, but it's still super action packed. All the stars are in it. Very cool. Doctor Strange, this one, it's his origin story. His origin story is not bad. Benedict Cumberbatch is horrible. He's just the most unappealing actor there is. They could have just found someone else. But the bad guy in this is really cool. I can't think of the actor's name, but the guy that plays him is awesome. All the magic fighting is super cool. I guess I kind of have to put this in A, even though Benedict Cumberbatch, just him being in the movie makes me want to put it in B. That's how awful he is. Um, I don't know. That's a hard one. Hmm. That's interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in B because I just don't think it. I mean, the movie is really good and stuff, but he's just not he's the main character. If he was like a side character, but he's the main character, and he's not entertaining. You don't really root for him very much. It's just, mm, yeah, I think he brings it down a little bit. Um, Guardians Volume 2. This one, I honestly don't think this one's as good as the second one, as the first one rather, because like he just showed like his dad finds him and he's like, "Hey, I'm this brain that developed a body. I'm basically the first living god or something, and I, you're half god, but if I die, you're just back to normal." So he gets to be like flying around and stuff for just that one. It's still super funny, but yeah, it's just kind of weird like how like the plot stuff works out. Yeah, I'm gonna just put that one in B just because it was kind of just like, what is going on? Um, Spider-Man: Homecoming. This one's good. Spider-Man's trying to do his own thing. Iron Man's telling him no. Uh, you know, Michael Keaton playing Vulture. That's cool too. Uh, yeah, I think this one's relatively good. I liked this movie. It was pretty good. Um, kind of uh lucky how he meets the girl he likes, and then her dad is the Vulture. That's pretty funny how that turns out. Um, and then like the kind of fight scene is more like a dramatic chase rather than like fighting each other. I'll put this one in A, but it's very good. It's definitely very good. Um, Thor Ragnarok. Now this movie is where Thor becomes like the best character. Not just because he's got like the lighting and stuff, because like he starts becoming super funny. He's great. This is where he becomes a great character. Ultron he started to, but like this is where it was kind of cemented. Like, okay, Thor is hilarious. In this movie uh Odin dies, which like makes sense and everything, but then like his like sister shows up and she's just, oh my god, she's just so overpowered. Catches his hammer, just crushes it in her hand, just goes to Asgard, kills everybody. Like she's insanely overpowered. And then but then Thor goes to that other place and he finds Hulk and they have to battle and stuff. Really good. But then like the ending thing, Thor is like, I can't even beat her. I just have to find a guy and just blow everything up. So like it's kind of not as the villain. It's one of those where the villain is just way too strong to make like the fighting very interesting, because it's like, what are they gonna do? Like she just grows swords and kills people in like 1 second. She catches his hammer and breaks it. What's he gonna do with a sword he found? So it's pretty good up at that. And she's not interesting. She's just some emo chick that stabs people. Yeah, and then so he summons the big guy that's supposed to destroy Asgard, and he does, and everything blows up. And it's like, well, I guess. But the rest of the movie is quite funny. Him with Hulk and stuff, that stuff's hilarious. They meet that Blue Rock guy, and he's hilarious. Fantastic. Next we got Black Panther. This one was very good. Um, was it Michael B. Jordan? He's the bad guy. Plays great, like evil, like just ruthless bad guy, just wicked tough. Um, the main character, that guy's great. I can't think of his name right now. Um, but he does a great job as the Black Panther. His suit's super cool. This one's really good. They have a really good fight at the end of it. None of the really like side characters are really that interesting. It's kind of just the main guy and the bad guy, which I guess is the most important thing. Um, but I don't know if it like earns S. I mean, their stuff seems like just insanely OP. Uh, and there's a couple things that kind of are weird. Like he takes that plant that makes him super strong, but then they bury him in sand and he can talk to the dead. Like that's a convenient little thing to also have there with you. But it's really good. It's still really good. It definitely should get an A. I would definitely see it as an A. Okay, Avengers: Infinity War. Now this is the first one with like Thanos. Now I'll just place this one and then talk about it. That one definitely gets an S. Now this movie, it starts out. Thanos already had, so there's 6 of the stones, right? He gets the stones, he wins. What they made people think is that he was gonna get like 3 or 4 stones in the first one, And then the second one, he was gonna be like almost to the sixth one. We gotta stop him. But spoiler alert. Actually, he just gets all of them in this one and kills it, so nobody sees it coming. But at the beginning of the movie, he's already got a stone. He's sitting there, he's destroying Thor's ship. He kills Heimdall, one of the best characters in all of these movies. Too bad, rip Heimdall. Gets another stone, kills Loki. Finally, somebody did it, and then blows up the ship. Thor could just breathe in space, but that's acceptable. That's fine. And then he immediately ports out, and he's starting to find the other stones. Guardians run into Thor. They get with him. Iron Man and Doctor Strange fight people on Earth with Spider-Man and stuff. Like, it's like action plot, action plot. It's really well done with how the pace of the movie goes. You really feel like on the edge of your seat and stuff. It's very good. It's probably as it should be, the Infinity War, the big movie or whatever. That one or Endgame should be the best Marvel movie, and I think Infinity War was. You got to see, and like Iron Man, Strange, and like Spider-Man, just like the three of them together was actually really good. Like the dialogue between them and stuff. And then they got with the Guardians, and then that was funny too. Thor made Stormbreaker. That was a super intense scene, very cool. Yeah, there's lots of good stuff about this. The last fight, all the fight scenes are awesome. Thanos gets the big ending, big, huge, oh my god, ending. So yeah, definitely easily an S for that one. Next up we got Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now this one, it's good because like it's funny and everything. Like he's good, the Wasp girl, she's good too. Like they're a great duo. Like they're both cool, they're both interesting. The characters, both of them, they're great. It's just the bad guy. It's one of those times where it's like I'm evil, and then they're like, but it's okay, and then so she's not evil anymore. Not, at the end of the movie, she's just like, oh, it's fine. And so it's the conflict of the movie is both the villain trying to do bad stuff and then them trying to save his wife. To save his wife from being in that realm or whatever a long time ago. That part was interesting. It's just the bad guy just wasn't like very interesting. But like the cop chasing him is really funny. This one definitely gets an A. Yeah, just that villain girl was not very interesting. Lawrence Fishburne's character would just always get stopped by some ants and be like, "Oh, hey, sorry about that." It just, yeah, it's just if they had a better villain, it would have easily been. It probably would have been an S if it was like an actual like intense, cool villain with like some stakes. But like the worst thing that was gonna happen was like this girl was gonna kill a woman they already thought was dead, and it's like that's like not too intense. Like Thanos killed everybody, like literally half of the universe, and these ones are like, oh no, my mom that we've thought has been dead for 40 years might stay dead. It's just I know that it sounds mean, but like just the villain really slowed it down for that one. Then Captain Marvel. This was the last solo movie before Endgame. This movie was carried really hard by Samuel L. Jackson. He was hilarious in this. He was playing a younger agent and stuff. He was really, really funny. He was really good. Uh, what sucks about this is because it takes place when it does. You know that the people she's with are bad guys. Like they call Ronan and like they're just having a chat with him on cell phone. Ronan was the bad guy in this movie, and since this takes place in the 90s, it takes place before that. And they like call Ronan. They're like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" Like they know him, so you know that she's with the bad guys because she like loses her memory and stuff. So you know she's gonna figure out, oh, these guys are bad. Jude Law is great though. He's one of the bad guys. He's awesome. Brie Larson is just god awful. Like she's just very boring of a person, not interesting at all. And then so she's got these powers that she can't use, and she's like scared to use them, and she kind of just like throws bursts around. And like at that point, the character's not too like lame. Like she's interesting. She's a little bit interesting, but then she like realizes her potential, whatever, and she just becomes an indestructible beam of like, she's just like a flying nuke. And it's like, okay, she just like flies up, just goes through missiles. It's like Superman in a way because like Superman, he's so OP. It's hard to like care when he fights because you know he's fine. Like he's getting buildings thrown on him. He's flying in space. He's getting blown up. But when you then Superman, he's like, hey, going to shake the bad guy's hand, and the bad guy punches him through a wall or something like. But she's just like rude and mean the whole time. So like she's not interesting without the powers like Superman is. Um, I think her movie goes into the C. I mean, it would have a D if it didn't have Samuel L. Jackson carrying it really hard. They just made her so OP at the end. Like it would have been way cooler if she didn't get so OP and she had to like fight Jude Law with like those powers and had a nice fight scene and stuff. But instead she just shows up and she just like throws Jude Law like right into a rock and he's like, okay, I lose. Yeah, not that good. And then Endgame. This is the one that just came out. Spoilers. Just kidding. If you actually haven't seen this movie yet, you've probably been spoiled way worse than I'm about to do. Um, Now this movie, like the last fight was amazing. The part with Captain America, the part with Iron Man, both in their last fight scene, absolutely amazing. The beginning of this movie it throws you for a loop. Like they go find Thanos, like what they found him already. It's been like 3 minutes. The movie's over. They just kill him. You're like, wait, what's going on? And then it all kind of, and then so they're like, well, just time travel. What every movie uses to just fix stuff, fix problems. And so of course they're just gonna time travel and fix everything, which it's okay, but it's just like those. It's just like all the other time travel movies. Like, oh, don't see yourself, and then oh, hey, it's my dad. I better act like I'm just a bro, or hey, it's myself. I better act like I'm a guy just pretending to be me. It's the same time travel stuff you see in every movie. And it's so slow building up. Like there's Captain America versus Captain America. That seems good, but then it's very slow for a lot of it, and so it just until it picks up at the end. I think I'll put this one in A, but maybe it gets an S just because the ending is like very satisfying. The last like 45 minutes of the hour of the movie are amazing. It's just there's like an hour and a half in the middle where it's like oh my god, it's like I know what the ending of this movie is gonna be, so just get there already. You know what I mean? It's just kind of yeah, it's not the perfect movie, but it's not bad. I mean, it's probably the closest one to like jumping into S, like this one or Black Panther. They're both really close to just getting into S, but I don't think it deserves an S just because of how slow it was in the middle and because of how just they're like oh time travel, and they also conveniently pretend like so every movie in time travel they're like but if we do that then that's our past and then our present will be this and they get all confused and stuff, and Hulk just goes it's all good bro and then it's fine and then they just do whatever they want. So I don't know. And it's so easy for them to just do the time travel stuff. There's no problems with it. Yeah, it's got some problems with it, but the ending is so good. So it's obviously worth a watch in the theaters. It's just I don't think it deserves quite the S. But yeah, there we go. I finished. There's all the movies. Yeah, I feel like they're pretty good. So what I say is be as opinionated as possible as you can with a tier list, but be more objective than you are opinionated. And that might not make much sense, but what I mean by that is um it's not like if anybody else made a tier list, these movies should these movies should move one or maybe two tiers away. But like if you guys put one of these in the S or one of these S's in the C's, one of us is being deliberately opinionated. And I try my best not to be. I tried to be mostly objective, but obviously opinions can raise and lower some stuff, by a tier or two. But yeah, so be very opinionated, but be more objective than opinionated. That way, you're really into the tier list. You're really into where you put the stuff. I feel like I put everything in a pretty fair place. Um, yeah, this is a pretty good spot for everything. Yeah, some stuff might be able to move one or two tiers, but let me know in the comments what should be moved. I'll put a link in there to where you can do this yourself. You can let me know what you think. Make your own. But yeah, I actually didn't expect I didn't expect myself to put Ultron in S, but after talking about it for a minute, I realized there's no real big problem with it or anything, so it was quite good. No, I didn't think I put Iron Man 3 in B, but then when I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, there's a kind of a slump in that movie where it's like, you know, it's just Tony Stark, but instead of the funny charismatic character, he's being Iron Man just without the Iron Man suit. So it's just not, it's like not what you came to see. But yeah, make sure you leave a comment and share this with any other people that like Marvel movies. They can come in the comments, give their opinions on stuff. Be happy to hear it. If you think something should be moved, go ahead and tell me. Feel free. So yeah, that was my tier list. I think it's pretty safe to say that most people will agree with most of these. You know, some will move, but I'm sure a lot of these people, I'd say 50% of them, people would agree with. But I guess we'll see in the comments once I post this. Okay, thanks for watching.